Hey everyone, so today I wanted to go over some of the things that your receptionist call script needs to have. That way you're able to book more appointments. And this is extremely important because no matter how great your marketing is, if your team, right, your front line that really picks up the phone and talks to these prospects, if they don't know what to say on the phone, then no one's gonna come in. So you need to make sure that your receptionists know exactly what to say, how to say it. That way they can move the conversation along and then book those appointments for you. Now, I am a digital marketer and my clients are businesses that rely on these inbound calls in order to come in for an appointment and then eventually become a paid customer. And trust me, over the last several years, I've seen so many different types of businesses approach receptionist call scripts. Some of them have no structure. Some of them have a really good structure and they're just booking as many appointments as you can really dream about because maybe 1 and 2 become an appointment. But really the ones that don't have a structure, those are the ones where there's a lot of opportunity. And if you're watching this video right now, you're interested in seeing what your receptionist call team can do. That way they can book more appointments. Because of course, if you're able to bring someone in, that's a much greater likelihood that they're going to become a paid customer. If someone calls and you're not able to book, of course, that's potential revenue that is lost to your competitor. So in this video, we're going to go over 4 specific things that your call script needs to have. And also at the bottom, you'll actually be able to get one of the call scripts that we share with our clients. That way you can get an idea for maybe what you can have within your own call script, because every business serves different markets and they sell different things. So their call script needs to be specific to their industry. So let's get started. The very first thing that your call script needs to have is that it needs to ensure that your team is answering the phone with the most energetic greeting possible. So by that, I mean that, look, it needs to be warm and energetic, okay? It can't be something like, hello. It can't be something like, who is this? Yeah, and believe it or not, there are companies that answer the phone like that because there's no structure. They bring someone into the business who had never answered the phone before, and then guess what? Those people are saying whatever comes to mind. So you want to make sure that you have an energetic greeting. And if someone is calling you and then you seem like you don't really care about them, they're going to call another business that is able to sound energetic and excited to work with them. So instead of sounding very low voice and really low energy, you want to say something like, hello, this is Franco with your best TV company, as an example, okay? That sounds a lot more professional. You want to have that energy so that the person who is calling you hears that, wow, these people are happy to hear from me. And then that it gets easier to move the conversation along. Because if you answer the phone like, hello, then it just comes off like, okay, I mean, do you really want to work with me? So that's the very first thing. And you set this up at the very beginning. Your energy really sets the tone for how the rest of the conversation will go. So you want to make sure that your team is very warm and energetic. Number 2, you want to make sure that your team is able to ask for the person's name and phone number for several different reasons. One is that if you get their name and you're able to address them by their name throughout the entire conversation, it just becomes a lot more personable. If I'm speaking to someone at the very end, we ask for their name, then it's like, oh, this whole time, that's right, you never asked me for my name. It doesn't come off as warm as, hi, Mr. Smith. So how can I help you, Mr. Smith? Things like that, right? So I always recommend that you make sure that early on in the conversation, you ask for their name. That way you can address them professionally and really in a way that's a lot warm. But then you also want to make sure that you get their phone number. And what happens is that if you don't get their phone number and the call drops, guess what? Who are you going to call back? A lot of businesses nowadays, they have caller ID, but for some reason, there's a lot of software that doesn't include caller ID. Or maybe caller ID, it takes you a few minutes after the call ends for you to be able to see those details. So you want to make sure that you get their phone number. And this helps too, because let's say they're calling from a landline and maybe you want to call them back a day or 2 later, and guess what? You only have the landline. It's not going to help you if you're only going to call on landline and that person might be at work or something. So after we say something like, good afternoon, this is Franco with ABC Company, you want to ask, who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? And they're going to say, hi, my name is Carlos, my name is Juan, etc. And then you could go with, hi Juan, great to meet you. Quick question, what is your best phone number in case we get disconnected? And then Juan, in this case, is going to tell you, oh, my best number is this. That way, up until this point, we already have shared a warm and energetic greeting. So this person who's calling us, they're excited to hear from us because we're excited to hear from them. Number 2, we already know them by their first name or maybe last name, and we have their phone number, which leads us to number 3. Number 3 is that we want to make sure that we're able to help this person. And we want to be able to address that we are their best solution for their problem. So after we have done these 2 previous items, we want to ask, how can I help you? Or if you just have one particular service, you can say, are you interested in learning more about this? And then the person will say yes or no. What's important about this particular section where we ask people what they need or what problems they have that we can help with. You want to make sure that your receptionist team does not become Google search. If someone asks you questions, you don't want your receptionist team to answer all of them, especially if you're in healthcare or legal. The receptionist person, they're not professionals. They don't know what's going on within those industries, specifically when it comes to law or healthcare stuff. So you want to make sure that they promote the value that comes with actually coming in for a consultation to speak to the professional. And I say this because sometimes I come across businesses where their sales teams, they're very nice. They want to definitely help the caller, but then they provide too much detail, where the right place for this detail to be shared is through a consultation with the lawyer, with a dentist, with the doctor, etc. So that's where it needs to be done. Now, how do you ask this particular question? You want to ask something like, how can I help you? And then the person's going to tell you, look, I need to see a doctor for this. Okay, great. We can help you with that. And then we'll move on to the final point, right? Which we're going to go over right now. If someone asks you about price, you can give a range, but really I would try to brush it off and say, look, you're going to speak to the professional. The professional is going to be able to give you a better idea of what you should do in your case, because every person is different when it comes to legal, healthcare, etc. So you don't want to provide prices on the phone. If you provide prices on the phone, then guess what? The person's going to say, okay, thank you. And then they're going to hang up. So remember, you're not Google search. You are trying to guide this person with the end goal of scheduling that appointment. If they have any other questions, you can have a frequently asked questions section on your script that goes over maybe some things that you can cover. For example, someone might ask a law practice, how many years has the attorney been practicing? You can have a number for that. The attorney's been practicing for 10 years. And trust me, when you come to his appointment, you're going to be able to understand the experience that he has in this area, right? That sounds amazing, right? So you can definitely have some frequently asked questions there to help your team guide the conversation towards that appointment. The worst thing, like I mentioned, is that you become Google search results and you say 10, and then the person asks something else, and then you're gonna say yes, no, and then they don't end up booking. They just wanted some information. So always do number 4, which is push for that appointment. And by that I mean, if someone's asking you about price, if someone's asking you about maybe experience or education, or maybe they have questions about whether or not they can trust this person, I'd always recommend, look, there's a free consultation, assuming that there is. There's a free consultation for you to get to speak to our attorney. He's going to be able to listen to your case, and then if that's something that you'd like to do, you can definitely do it. It's no consultation to you. Or if, let's say, you're offering an estimate to go to someone's house, you can say, look, there's no obligation to you. Our team is going to go to your house. We're going to be able to show you these different options, and then you're able to choose one of the ones that you want. But trust me, there's no obligation for this. We just want to make sure we can help you. That is going to be a lot more effective, and really it's something all businesses need to do. Always try to go towards that appointment. And the reason I say that is you wouldn't believe how many times I hear calls where at no point in that call does the receptionist push for that appointment. Sometimes they'll just become Google search, and then they never ask, oh, would you like to come by tomorrow to speak to our expert? Or would you like for us to go by in 2 days to go check out your house? You need to ask these questions. As part of this fourth option, this fourth area really, which is to ask and to schedule that appointment, you want to also do a lot of the work yourself. And by that I mean, do not ask the person, when are you free? Because the person, if they say next month, guess what? Between now and next month, those are 30 days that your competition can get in front of them and then take that client away from you. So what you want to do is you want to say something like, so Juan, I actually have some time available tomorrow at 9 in the morning. Or if you'd like, I actually have some time tomorrow at 3 p.m. The sooner that you can get someone into your business, or the sooner that you can go to their house, for example, highest likelihood that you're going to be able to be the company that they work with. Because if you leave a lot more time, that's a lot more time that competition can get in front of them. Maybe ads, because now you know these platforms know what you're searching for, so they're going to feed you more ads. So you want to make sure that you schedule something soon. You don't schedule it weeks in advance, because those people are going to forget, or they're going to cancel, or someone's just going to come in and take them away from you. So again, there are 4 components that your call script needs to have for your receptionist. Number 1 is you want to make sure that they have a warm and energetic greeting. Number 2, you want to make sure that they are able to ask for the name of the person who's calling, as well as their phone number, just in case they get disconnected as well. You want to make sure that you're able to address them by their name. That way it comes off a lot more personal. Number 3, we want to make sure that we are able to ask the person what they need help with, so that we can identify we can actually help them. But do not become Google search results. That will keep people away from booking the 4th point, which is an appointment, right? So definitely make sure that at all times you're always going towards that appointment. That appointment is extremely important because if you get them in the door, you have a higher likelihood of closing them. If they're not able to get in the door, then you're not going to get any revenue, you're not going to get any sales, etc. Always make sure that you're doing these 4 things. That way you increase the likelihood that your receptionist team is able to get more people in the door. And I'm saying this from experience. If you have a structure and you can really monitor the calls, because that's another thing that really will help you determine if the script is actually working. You want to listen to the call recordings to make sure that your team is following it. But trust me, if you didn't have any structure before and now you start implementing something like this, you're going to notice a lot more people scheduling the appointments, because guess what? You left a good first impression and you did what you should require all of your team members to do, which is to really schedule that appointment. So if you have any questions, make sure to add them in the comments below. As well, at the bottom, I'm going to add a script example that I share with all of my clients. That way you can potentially get some ideas for what you could incorporate in your script as well. It's pretty much a template, so you can copy it. I think I have a PDF in there that you can download and then edit however you want. And if you are interested in then learning a little bit more about how you can follow up with your actual prospects, right? Because of course, scheduling them in for a consultation is just part of the work. The other thing is what happens after you actually present in front of them. Well, guess what? You need to be able to follow up with them. So make sure that you click on this video here. That way you're able to learn a little bit more about how you can follow up with your prospects. That way you're able to get more of these prospects that actually you already met up with, right? How do you get those to actually close? So thank you very much, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.